Okay, so today, this is weird watching myself on this screen. Today, you are going to be doing a music math assignment. And so we may have forgotten what some of our note values are as far as rhythm, okay? We can still count ta, ta-dee, taka-dee-me, but we may have forgotten what that actually means, okay? So we'll start with the basics, okay? We got this guy right here. How many beats is that guy?
One.
Just one, okay? You cannot see this. Okay, so this is one. What do we call it? It's not ta.
A quarter note.
Quarter note, okay? So we have one beat. We have one that's two beats. What would that be? A half note, which looks like that, okay? Empty in the middle, two beats, half. And then what is the longest note value that we are used to seeing?
Eighth note.
Eighth note? Funny joke! That was so funny. Okay, so it's not an eighth note. It is a whole note. Good job, everyone. It was a long spring break. Okay, so we have the whole note. Takes up a whole lot of time. Now, unnamed student, what is the note that you said?
Eighth note.
Eighth note.
I hope they don't recognize my voice.
They will recognize your voice.
So it can look like this by itself, or it can look like two joined together at the top with one bar. Okay?
Both eighth note.
This is one eighth note. This is two eighth notes. Okay? A pair of eighth notes, like a pair of pants or a pair of socks. Okay? Two. But let's talk about this first. Do you know why this is called a whole note?
Because it takes up a whole lot of time.
It does take up a whole lot of time.
It's a whole measure.
It is a whole measure, okay? So if I am writing music in 4/4 or common time, and I draw this, how many beats are left over in the measure? They can't see that on there. Hold on. So I'm drawing this, okay, I'm in 4/4 or common time, and I draw this. How many beats are left over
Zero.
in the measure? There's no more beats, okay? That takes up all four. Whole. Okay? Now, if I draw this, how many beats do I have left over? Two. I can fill up two. So I could put two quarter notes, right? What else could I put?
Another half note.
I could put another half note. What else could I put? 4 eighth notes. Okay, I could put 1, 2, 3, 4 eighth notes. Okay, because all of these, this is 2 beats. This combined together is 2 beats, and then all of those combined together, 2 beats. All right. So then if I put in a quarter note, how many beats do I have remaining in my measure? 3. Okay, so somebody tell me an option of what I could write for the rest of that measure. A half and a quarter. Okay, that would equal 4 beats total. What else could I write that equals 3 beats? What'd you say? Dotted half note.
Yeah.
Okay, what else? 2 eighth notes and
Quarter note.
quarter note. Let's see what that would be.
Wait, hold on. Yeah, no, that
Okay,
one.
we have 2 eighth notes and a quarter note. How many beats is that?
2.
1, 2. So we need one more. Another one. Okay, so you still get the concept. Good. Let's talk about this dot. When we add a dot to a note, do you know exactly what it does? It doesn't add a half of a beat, okay? What does it add a half of? Of the note that it's attached to, okay? So if our original note is 2, our dot is going to add half of 2. So how much is that?
1.
1. So now we have how many
3.
beats? 3. All right, what if we have a quarter note with a dot? Our original value of the note is what? 1 beat plus, you can either write a fraction, okay, or you can write a 0.5. So that would be
1/2.
1.5 beats. What if we did, that with a dot? So we have a whole note with a dot. So the whole note by itself is worth 4. And then what is half of 4? 2. So we add those together and we get 6. Now if you want to get really fancy and you really like math,
Oh, yeah.
there is an algebraic equation for finding the value of a dotted note, and it would be this, okay? So our value would be x, okay? Original note value. And then we add x over 2 equals y. So you can plug in any numbers for that, and you're going to get the dotted half note value, okay? You have to know the original value, obviously, but it can change. Does that make sense? No? Yes? Great. Okay, so we remember our basics, but today's assignment is going to have you doing a little bit more complicated rhythms. So I'm going to draw what's called a rhythm tree. This will be very basic, okay, and it might look kind of ugly, so I'm really sorry. But here we go. So we'll start with our biggest note at the top. If I karate chop that in half, and I get 2 equal pieces, what do I get?
2 half.
2 half notes, okay? Half note here, and a half note here. So now I'm just going to keep karate chopping things down. This is going to be split into 2 equal parts. Okay? And the other side is exactly the same. Okay? Now what if I cut each of these in half? I get how many eighth notes per quarter note?
2.
2. So you can write them like that, or you can write them like that. Same thing. So this is going to be exactly the same on that side. So how many eighth notes can we fit into 4 beats? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Eighth notes. Wonder where they got that name. I bet I know. Now here's where it gets a little tricky. We have an eighth note, can be split in half.
Just think, team.
How do we draw it?
Isn't it like
2 flaggies, okay? You can also draw it, oops, I'm sorry. I didn't do this correctly. Right? Because we have 4 of them once we split those in half. You can also draw it like this. Looks like 8 notes, but with another bar. So how many 16th notes fit into 4 beats? 16. And you can keep going and keep going and keep going smaller, but I think for today, we just need to know the 16th notes. So, if I add together 8th note,
16th note?
well, how many 16th notes is that?
That's 4.
It's 4, okay?
So,
And then another 8th note. We need to figure out how many beats we have represented here. Okay? So how many beats is an 8th note?
8. 4.
Let's look. We've got 1 beat, half a beat. What's half of a half? A quarter. Okay? If you think about this as being $1, these are both 50 cents. these are a quarter of the dollar. Okay, they're not quarter notes, they're a quarter of a beat. So this is how much of a beat?
Half.
Half, exactly. Okay, 0.5 beats, and then we have another one.
Which is half. 0.5.
So then if we add those together,
You get
we have 1. But then we have this.
that's 4. Over 16.
You think this is one whole beat?
No, that's half beat.
We're going to add some decimals. Look over here. How do we write a quarter, 1/4 as a decimal?
Wait, a quarter, 1 point.
0.25. Okay? And we have how many of those 0.25?
4, so it'll be 1.
But if you want to see it written out, just so you're sure. That's
So it's
1 beat.
2.
So how many beats do we have represented there?
2.
2. Okay? Now to confuse you even further,
Wait,
can you have a dotted eighth note?
Yes.
You can?
No.
What do you think?
Yes.
Yes, you absolutely can. You can have all kinds of things in music. Very little is impossible when it comes to writing music. Okay, so we have an eighth note, and we're going to put a dot next to it. Now, you remember the formula that I showed you? This is where it becomes important. When you can't do it in your head anymore. All right, so we're looking for Y. And remember, we need to use decimals here to make it really make sense to you. Okay, so you can actually see it. So how would we write 1/2 as a decimal? 0.5. 0.5 plus, so then we put 0.5 over 2. And I'm going to do it step by step until you learn to do it in your head, okay? 0.5 2 equals Y.
You need to subtract the.
No, a half note is 2 whole beats. So remember, if it was a half note, we would plug in 2 there.
So you would subtract the 0.5 over 2, right?
No.
Oh, okay. I'm thinking.
Okay, so let me talk you through the steps. Don't try to jump ahead. What is half of 1/2? A fourth. How do we write that?
1 over 4. Oh.
0.5 plus 0.25 equals Y. So now what do we have?
75.
Okay, 0.75. So this would be 0.75 beats or 3/4 of a beat. Okay? I don't know if you're going to get that specific in your music math assignment, but just in case you do, that's how you would do it. And we will keep practicing this until you can just like rip through these. Okay? You'll get it. I know math is like, you see math and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't. But all of music is math to some extent. Your frequencies, your amplitudes, it's all science and math. Yes, there's creativity and yes, there's art. But the basis of music itself is a mathematical happening. I don't know. What? No, it doesn't. Math is great. I love other subjects.
Please don't fire me for my job.